Erling Haaland isn't just scoring goals, he's redefining speed and efficiency in modern football. Fastest player in Premier League history to 100 goals, done in just 111 matches, smashing Alan Shearer's long-standing record. In the 2025-26 season alone, he's averaging almost a goal per game, topping charts for shots and shots on target in the league. But here's the twist. World's top lists still rank Haaland among the elite center forwards in football right now, not just for goals, but for consistent elite output. Yet, despite these ultra-elite numbers, critics are asking a bold question. Is Haaland truly world-class on his own? Or is he simply the perfect striker in the best attacking system in football history? One that practically manufactures goals for him. Because when you look at the facts, the goals are real. But what about the role, the influence, the impact beyond scoring? That's exactly what we're unpacking today. Before we start, why don't you subscribe to the channel and like the video? This encourages me to do more videos like this one. Thanks, and let's move on. To argue that Erling Haaland is not world-class, you first have to ignore the most brutal truth in football. Elite forwards are judged by goals, and no one delivers them more consistently than Haaland. Season after season, across domestic leagues and Europe, his output remains absurd by modern standards. This isn't a one-year explosion or a purple patch, it's sustained dominance at the very top level. By December 2025, Haaland has already cemented himself as one of the most efficient goal scorers the Premier League has ever seen. Records that once looked untouchable have fallen with alarming ease, not because he plays every minute or takes endless shots, but because his conversion rate is ruthless. He doesn't need rhythm, he doesn't need volume. Give him one clear chance, and more often than not, the game changes. What makes this even more impressive is how he scores. Haaland isn't reliant on one type of goal. He scores through raw pace in behind, overpowering defenders in the box, attacking crosses with precision, and finishing instinctively with either foot. His movement is calculated and violent, always on the blind side, always one step ahead. Defenders don't just lose duels against him, they lose space, time, and composure. Physically, he is a nightmare modern football still hasn't fully solved. At a time when defenders are faster and systems are tighter, Haaland combines elite speed with striker-era strength. He doesn't just survive contact, he dominates it. And yet, his goals are rarely chaotic. They are clean, efficient, almost mechanical, which is exactly why analysts consistently point out that he often outperforms the quality of chances he receives. That isn't system dependency, that's finishing superiority. There's also the consistency factor. Many strikers peak briefly, burn bright, and fade once defenders adjust. Haaland hasn't. Across multiple seasons, different tactical tweaks, injuries around him, and changing opposition strategies, his numbers remain elite. That level of reliability is one of the clearest markers of a world-class player. Coaches trust him, teammates look for him, opponents build entire defensive plans around stopping him and still fail. Recognition follows performance, and Haaland's standing in global football reflects that. By late 2025, Haaland remains firmly placed among the world's elite forwards in rankings, awards conversations, and tactical discussions. Not because he is flashy or versatile or artistic, but because he is devastatingly effective. Even those who question his overall influence rarely deny his status as the most feared finisher in the game. So, if world-class means producing at the highest level, against the best teams, over multiple seasons, with numbers that shift games and seasons alike, then the case for Haaland is overwhelming. He may not dominate matches in the traditional sense, but when the ball reaches him in decisive moments, football becomes brutally simple. And that is exactly why this debate exists, because when your greatest strength is so overwhelming, it invites a deeper question. If he is this lethal, how much of it is him, and how much of it is the system around him?
And this is where the argument turns uncomfortable, because once you step away from the numbers, a different picture begins to form. For all of Haaland's dominance in front of goal, there's a growing sense that he may be less a force of nature and more the final piece of the most efficient attacking machine modern football has ever seen. Manchester City do not just create chances, they manufacture them. Possession is controlled, territory is suffocated, and opponents are forced into deep, compact blocks for long stretches of the game. In that environment, space doesn't appear randomly, it is engineered, and Haaland is the primary beneficiary of that engineering. Week after week, he receives chances crafted by some of the most intelligent creators in world football. Kevin De Bruyne's cutbacks, Bernardo Silva's half-space manipulation, Phil Foden's timing between the lines, all designed to pull defenders out of shape before the final ball is played. Haaland often doesn't need to improvise, he needs to arrive. And when he does, the damage is inevitable. This leads to the most common criticism. Haaland does very little when City don't dominate. In matches where possession is disrupted, where passing lanes are blocked, or where City are forced into chaotic transitions, his influence drops sharply. He doesn't drop deep to dictate tempo. He doesn't carry the ball through pressure. He doesn't naturally become the system when the system breaks. Instead, he waits. There are games where Haaland completes fewer touches than central defenders, where he barely links play, where he looks isolated for long periods. Yet, the final stat line still shows a goal, sometimes two. And while that efficiency is admirable, it also raises a question: is invisibility between goals a flaw or simply evidence of a hyper-specialized role? Compare him to other elite forwards of this era. Harry Kane creates as much as he scores. Benzema adapted his game to elevate an entire team. Even Lewandowski, long labeled a system striker, proved he could dominate across leagues and tactical environments. These players didn't just finish moves, they shaped them. Haaland, by contrast, is shaped by his surroundings. He thrives when the pitch is tilted in his favor, when City's positional play pins defenders back, when chances are delivered at optimal angles and distances. Remove that structure, and he becomes easier to manage, not ineffective, but reduced. This is why the system player label sticks. It isn't an insult, it's an observation. Haaland is arguably the most lethal end product football has seen in years, but he rarely alters the flow of a match on his own. He doesn't bend games, he ends them. And in Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, that might be the point. Guardiola doesn't ask Haaland to be complete, he asks him to be decisive. The system does the thinking, Haaland does the killing. It's efficient, it's ruthless, but it also means that when City struggle, Haaland rarely becomes the solution, he remains the destination. Which leads to the next question, and perhaps the most damaging one of all. If a world-class player is supposed to rise when systems fail, what happens when the biggest games stop going according to plan? That's where the debate truly intensifies.
If the system player argument raises eyebrows, the discussion around big games is where it starts to sting. Because at the very highest level of football, moments matter more than patterns, and this is where Haaland's reputation becomes complicated. In league matches against mid-table or struggling sides, Haaland is devastating. Space appears, chances flow, and his presence alone feels inevitable. But when the margins shrink, Champions League knockouts, title-defining clashes, tightly balanced semifinals, his influence becomes far harder to detect. Not always absent, but often muted. There have been nights where Manchester City needed inspiration, where passing lanes were closed, where opponents disrupted Guardiola's rhythm, and Haaland was largely reduced to a spectator. He made the runs, he occupied defenders, but he didn't seize control of the game. He didn't drag City forward when they stalled. He waited for a moment that never quite arrived. This is where comparisons become uncomfortable. The truly defining attackers of recent generations didn't just score in big games, they imposed themselves on them. They demanded the ball, they altered their positioning, they forced the game to bend. Even when they didn't score, they were impossible to ignore. Haaland, by contrast, can be neutralized by structure. Well-organized backlines deny him space behind. Compact midfields cut off early service. And once those channels disappear, his role shrinks dramatically. He doesn't naturally drift wide to create overloads. He doesn't consistently drop deep to dictate tempo. His threat is direct, not adaptive. And yet, here's the paradox. Even on nights when he appears anonymous, defenders never relax. His presence still dictates decisions. One lapse, one misjudged step, and the punishment is immediate. That latent danger is real, and it's valuable, but it's passive. It relies on errors rather than domination. This fuels the criticism that Haaland doesn't decide big games. He finishes them when they tilt in his favor. When City are on top, he accelerates the outcome. When City are stalled, he rarely unstalls them. Is that unfair? Perhaps. After all, he isn't deployed as a creator. He isn't asked to roam. His job is to be the endpoint, not the architect. But football's highest individual praise has always been reserved for players who transcend their role when circumstances demand it. That's why these big game discussions linger. Not because Haaland fails, but because he doesn't always rise above the framework built around him. He remains devastating within it, but less influential outside it. And this leads us to the most uncomfortable conclusion of all. If Haaland is elite within structure, lethal with service, and devastating when games go to plan, what exactly does world-class mean in modern football? Because the answer to that question might redefine how we judge greatness itself. By the time you reach this point in the argument, one thing becomes clear. The debate around Erling Haaland isn't really about whether he is good enough. It's about whether football still values the same definition of greatness it once did. Haaland doesn't fit the traditional image of a world-class attacker. He doesn't dominate possession, orchestrate play, or carry teams through chaos. He doesn't express himself through constant involvement or creative freedom. Instead, he operates with brutal efficiency inside a structure designed to maximize his strengths and minimize his weaknesses. And that's exactly why this debate feels uncomfortable. Modern football has moved away from individual improvisation and toward collective dominance. Systems are tighter, roles are clearer, and freedom is increasingly earned rather than assumed. In that environment, Haaland isn't an anomaly. He's the ideal outcome, a striker so specialized, so optimized that he turns structure into certainty. The uncomfortable truth is this: Haaland is world-class because football has changed, not in spite of it. In previous eras, greatness was measured by how much a player could do. Today, it's increasingly measured by how perfectly a player executes a specific function at the highest possible level. Haaland doesn't need to bend games to his will when the system bends them first. His job is to finish what others construct, and he does it better than almost anyone alive. That doesn't make him limited, it makes him modern. But it does force a difficult distinction. Haaland is not a system breaker, he is a system accelerator. He doesn't rescue failing structures, he makes functioning ones unstoppable. And that is why his influence can feel overwhelming one week and quiet the next, without ever truly disappearing. So, is he world-class? Yes, undeniably. Is he a system player? Also yes. Those two things are no longer opposites. Haaland represents a new type of elite footballer, devastating within order, lethal with service, and ruthlessly efficient in moments that decide outcomes. He may not control the narrative of a match, but he often controls the result. And maybe that's the final truth no one likes to admit. Greatness in modern football doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes it looks inevitable.
So maybe the real question was never whether Erling Haaland is world-class. Maybe the question is whether we're still judging players by old standards in a new game.
Haaland doesn't dominate matches the way legends once did. He doesn't pull the strings, bend games to his will, or demand the ball every minute. Instead, he waits, and when the moment arrives, he ends the contest with ruthless precision. In another era, that might have felt incomplete. In today's football, it feels inevitable. Because modern greatness isn't always loud. It isn't always beautiful. Sometimes it's just brutally efficient. Haaland may not be the most influential player on the pitch for 90 minutes, but he's often the most decisive in the one moment that matters. And in a sport decided by goals, not impressions, that might be the most world-class trait of all. So what do you think? Is Erling Haaland a generational striker shaped by the perfect system, or proof that the definition of greatness in football has quietly changed? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because football debates are always better when they're uncomfortable.